Right then, so I thought the engine start video was pretty big, but I think this trumps it. Let's see what we get on with today. It's pretty good. So welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Liam. This is my E30 touring with an S38 swap. In today's video, we're going to get it on the road. So now this has been a just coming up to 9-year project. I never thought I'd see the day. But everything's kind of just come together, still processing the fact of it. But for now, let's go back a couple of weeks. So winter is well and truly set in now. We're getting a lot of dark nights, a lot of wet days, so I've been really struggling to get any process done on the car. As you can see here, I've got the front end off still, but in the previous video, we got it started. As you can hear, there's no exhaust, there's no intake, there's no coolant, there's still a ton of little bits missing in the engine. So we need to get those on first, and then we can move on to the next steps. So I wanted to start by getting all the fluids in underneath. So you've got the gearbox, you've got the diff. This is what I'll be using for that. And then from there, we already have the prop shafts in place, so I'll get the heat shield in, and then it's time to get the exhaust in. As you can see, underside is looking beautiful. There's really not many jobs left, but there's still a few little bits to do. This is a Super Sprint exhaust. As you can hear, it sounds pretty sweet, but at the moment, the engine is running a bit off, as I've only just got a bass tune on it. So with that all in place, as you can see, the exhaust does sit quite low, a lot lower than I would have hoped, but due to the size it's twin 2.5 inch, it will sit a bit lower than standard. So now we can move on to getting all the coolant ready. There's a few little bits left, the heater matrix hoses, just getting those in place. Then I've fit the last AN line that goes to the custom header tank from the back of the engine. And then there's the 8mm kind of bleed line that heads from the header tank towards the radiator to the thermostat and then to the cylinder head. Not too happy about the positioning of this, but from factory, it is quite an odd design, but it is very efficient. So I'm just gonna run it for now, maybe think of something in the future. Now it's time to get everything filled up. So I'm just gonna use water here, as I don't want to be leaking everything on the floor. I've already leaked enough oil there. So by just filling it up with water, I can check for any leaks. If more happy, I can run it up and throw some of the proper coolant. I think next time I'll make a bit of a better design, because I've made an absolute mess here. We can now get the engine up to temperature. Because it is a new engine, you've just got to be careful not to leave it idling. You want to give it little revs every so often. But also, best thing to do is go for a drive. So it's not going to be a long process. Get up to temperature, turn it straight off again. In the previous video, I went through finishing off the front end wiring. So that's why the front end was off at the moment, as I had to run the loom through the front of the valance. So with that all connected up now, everything tested, it means I can finally put the front end together, as there's no need for any more access here. And then I kind of realised all I need to do now is fit a throttle cable, bleed the clutch, and this car is ready to go. Or at least ready to drive up and down the drive, just to test a few things out. So I made up a quick bracket, I'm going to redo that. As you can see here, we finally get movement. So that went really well. The clutch felt great, but there was an issue. The voltage wasn't charging. It was showing about 11.8. So I checked the alternator, I took it all apart, but I still couldn't find the issue. So I decided to buy a spare one. I stripped down mine, I checked everything, I just couldn't figure out what was up with it. It was something to do with the exciter circuit inside the alternator, as initially the battery light wasn't on. As you can see here, with that replaced, all I did was replace the internals. We've now got the battery charging. So now that I was happy that the car will drive, I can now get everything back together. So need to build the front end up, need to check some lights, get the interior in. So let's get that all done. So now I wasn't too happy with the throttle cable bracket, so I decided to add this little piece here that would tie into the throttle bodies to kind of stop the fulcrum effect from the airbox. As the airbox is so thin, I could see it pulling into the airbox. So by adding this, it just takes all the stress off it. So now it's time to bleed the brakes. I know that it drives, but at the moment it doesn't stop. Doing this on my own wasn't the easiest task. Started from the back, used a little non-return valve, and after a couple of goes round, I felt a good pedal. I took it for a quick up and down the drive, which obviously then gets the brake servo involved, which then means I just gave it another round again, just to make sure everything's done. Now with the brakes done, the power steering done, time to give it another last up and down the drive just to make sure it all feels right. So now is the day of the MOT. There's a few last little jobs to do. Got the bonnet on obviously, did a few little jobs fine underneath, and the final job was to align it. Now this isn't going to be a perfect alignment, but all I'm going to do is string it up just to make sure that it at least drives straight. If you haven't done this before, all you need to do is set these parallel, but taking into account the wheel width. So usually the rear is going to be wider than the front. Take a few measurements to make sure that you've equaled that out, and then simply check the front of the wheel, check the rear of the wheel, and just adjust it until I just went with straight zero toe, or at least roughly zero. There's still more to do, and you simply just adjust it on the tie rods. So the weather wasn't on my side today, but I was booked in for an MOT. I can't back out now. And that was it. It's ready for its MOT. As you can see, I am not in an exactly happy place here. Extremely stressed, very anxious, double checking everything all the way through. It was a half an hour drive, so all I was doing, or all I remember at least, is just watching the readout, just to make sure everything is happy. So somehow, its first ever half an hour drive, it was faultless. I was absolutely amazed. Obviously all I was doing is watching the readouts, but to get the car there in one piece, checking over, it's all okay, was amazing. Such a great feeling. Regarding the first impressions, it's aggressive, it's loud, it's stiff. But I'll go into that more in another video. At the moment, there's a lot of interior bits missing, so there's going to be a lot of cabin noise, but I can't give you a really true understanding of it, as at the moment, I'm still trying to process it. So I will go into that in another video. But as you can see, just gave it a quick clean after its first drive. The weather wasn't on my side at all. It was a horrible day. This was its first ever wash. Bit of snow foam, and then just a bit of quick detailer, just to kind of get it back up to spec. So finally, with some good weather, best take it for a drive. Let's see how that goes. What a feeling. 9 years of work on this car and it's finally driving. It's not done, but it's driving. Now there's a lot to go through, which I'll do in the next video. So I'll see you in the next one.